Hello, comrade. Welcome. Today we will be making jokes just like you like. Naturally, in Soviet Russia, joke makes you. So let's make jokes make us. I'll be reading them, the best of the best. Enjoy. And you can insert drum beat like badumts, badumts, anywhere along the punchline or in the middle, wherever you feel like inserting. Okay. In Soviet Russia, a man goes to buy a car. He goes up to the owner and asks for a car, to which the owner responds, "You know, there is a 10-year waiting list." The man then answers, "Okay." And after some time, he then agreed to buy a car. So he pays for the car in advance, and just before he leaves, he asks the owner, "Can I pick up the car in the morning or in the afternoon? It's 10 years away. Why does it matter?" "The plumber is coming in the morning." Next one. I give you some time to collect yourself. Because you know, in Soviet Russia, it's quite the opposite. A man calls the police. "Comrade Commissar, I want to report that my parrot escaped." "Comrade, we have more important things to do than look for your parrot," answers the policeman. "I am not expecting you to find him, comrade. I just want you to know that I don't share his opinions." Let's continue. 3 men are in prison in Soviet Russia, and they start explaining how they wound up in prison. The first man says, "I was 5 minutes late to work, so I was arrested for sabotaging Soviet productivity." The second man says, "I was 5 minutes early, so I was arrested for espionage, spying on Russian industrial secrets." Third man says, "I was exactly on time to work, so I was arrested for owning a foreign-made watch." Yeah, better read. A man is out buying bread in Soviet Russia. When he sees that the bakery is out of flour, he shouts, "Damn this country, we are so poor. I haven't been able to get a loaf of bread in days." A policeman hears that and approaches the man. "Stop saying things like that," or the policeman says as he uses his fingers to form a gun, points it toward the man and says, "Bang." The man is stunned and walks home. The wife sees that the man is shocked and asks, "What happened? Did we run out of flour again?" The man quickly replies, "Not only that, it appears that we are also run out of bullets." Back in Soviet Russia, there was a man working at Siberian coal mine. Every Friday, he would take a wheelbarrow full of dirt home. Every time he did this, the security guard would stop him, make him dump out the dirt, and sift through it, searching for coal or other stolen valuables. The security guard always found nothing, so he would reluctantly let the man reload the dirt and go back home. This goes on for 25 years until the man finally retired. On his last day, the bewildered security guard pleaded with him, "I know you've been smuggling something out of here for all of these years. Please just tell me what it was." The man replied with a sly wink, "Wheelbarrows." Okay, next one. A man walks into a shop in Soviet Russia. He asks the clerk, "You don't have any meat?" The clerk replies, "No, we do not have any fish. The shop that doesn't have any meat is across the street." Okay, just to obviously ease up the tension in Soviet Russia, Waldo finds you. Stalin is trying to seduce a girl in Soviet Russia. Stalin, tell me what you want. I will grant you any wish to be with you. Girl, I want you to open the borders. Stalin, you little tease. So you want us to have some alone time. In Soviet Russia, we also have a Snoop Dogg, but he just a regular dog who works for KGB. In Soviet Russia, the government regulates the pharmaceutical industry. In America, the pharmaceutical industry regulates the government. Two brothers want to find out the truth about Soviet Russia. Two brothers want to find out if Soviet Russia is really like the propaganda they hear in the West. They decide that the older brother will go to Soviet Russia to see for himself and write back what he sees. However, since the letter might get censored by the Soviet government, they decide that if the brother is telling the truth, he would write in black ink. If he is lying, he would write in red ink. A few months later, the older brother sends a letter back. The letter is in black ink. My brother, everything we hear in the West is a lie. Soviet Russia is a great country. Everyone is free and happy. The foods are abundant and everything is great. They have everything here. There is no shortage of anything. However, unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any red ink. Continue. I propose to my Russian girlfriend and she said yes. For the wedding, my whole family and friends flew over to her home of Moscow. It was a beautiful ceremony. However, I did find some things strange. For instance, the priest never said, "You may now kiss the bride." But I just assumed it was purely an American thing and didn't mind. Later, during the reception, we were both starving and decided to head over to the buffet to get food. On the way, we passed the drink table where about 6 people were waiting to get a fruity drink from a bowl. As we passed, they all said in unison, "You may now kiss the bride." My wife got giddy and gave me a big kiss, which I of course returned. As we walked away, I asked, "Why did they tell us to kiss and not the priest?" My wife answered, "In Soviet Russia, the punchline tells you." A man walks down the street in Soviet Russia and says to himself, "Life here is so miserable." 2 KGB agents come running, yelling, "You are under arrest. We heard you." The man Oh no, you misunderstood me. I said that life in America is miserable. KGB agents. Shut up. We know where life is miserable. A man parks his car in the Red Square in Soviet Russia. A policeman rushes over and yells, "Why are you parking here? Do you know where this is? This is the government's place." The man replies, "I know, don't worry. The lock on my car is really good." I went to Soviet Russia once. I knew I made a mistake because I saw all the red flags. Who was the unluckiest person in Soviet Russia? Yuri Gagarin. He circled the earth 30 times, but still ended up in Russia. In Soviet Russia, healthcare is free, and you get what you pay for. In Soviet Russia, a prisoner goes to the jail's library to borrow a book. The librarian says, "We don't have this book, but we have its author." A man living in Soviet Russia asks his friend, "Koля, what would you do if the borders were opened tomorrow?" "Why, I'd climb to the nearest tree, of course." "But why?" "I don't want to be trampled in a stampede." In Soviet Russia, a judge walks out of his chambers laughing his head off. A colleague approaches him and asks why he is laughing. "I just heard the funniest joke in the world." "Well, go ahead, tell me." "I can't. I just gave someone 10 years for it." In Soviet Russia, pessimist says, "Things couldn't possibly get any worse." A Russian optimist says, "Yes, they can." It was close to curfew in Soviet Russia. 2 policemen see a man running. One of the policemen shoots the running man dead. "Why did you do that? It isn't past curfew yet," the policeman asks. And the other replies, "I know where he lives. He wasn't gonna make it." In Soviet Russia, you are what you eat. Therefore, you are nothing. Why did Soviet Russia take so long to fall? A lot of time it was just Stalin. Two guys are trying to escape from Soviet Russia. The first guy looks over to the other and says, "Race you to the finish line." What do Soviet Russia and lottery have in common? You don't play the game. The game plays you. A man in Soviet Russia goes to see a doctor. "What happened to you?" he asks. "Migraine," man replies. He bent forward and pushed his glasses and said, "Correction, our grain." Soviet Russia used to have a leader who was also a singer in a rock band. He is none other than John Lennon. One day in Soviet Russia, dear comrade Stalin walks the street when he see long line of people queuing up. He thinks, "Bля, there must be something nice to be had at the end of that line." Being a dear comrade and equal to everyone, he dutifully goes to the end of the queue. Now man next to him in line turns around and sees dear comrade Stalin. The very next moment he leaves the queue. The same happens with the next in line. He sees dear comrade Stalin in line behind him, shrug his shoulders and leaves. Stalin is surprised. When the next man also leaves after noticing dear comrade Stalin, he asks, "My dear comrade, why are you all leaving this lineup when you see me?" The man says, "Dear comrade Stalin, this is lineup for exit visa, but if you want one, then I don't need it anymore." Good night, comrade.